Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios. I'm your StockMiner Brian Johnson. Heading into a new week. It is options expiration week. We do expect more volatility during these weeks, so I do recommend you keep your position sizes a little bit smaller and be very cautious holding overnight. It's not uncommon at all during options expiration week to go to bed one night and wake up to a completely different market the next, where we're gapped up 10 points, gapped down 10 points, then back up 6 points, then down the next day or up the next day or whatever. And so I usually keep your position sizes smaller, careful holding overnight. Now, we are very extended up here, but we've seen this before. There hasn't been any major bombshells dropped. There is new economic data coming out this next week, but as I've said, we haven't seen any major bombshells getting dropped on the markets, and none of the what would be considered bombshells have affected it in the least bit, such as the unemployment rates or consumer confidence or nothing like that has had any impact whatsoever on the markets. We have had some options expirations week where they have done nothing but gone up, so keep that in mind. Yes, we're overextended here, but I'm going to keep you guys in a very neutral to bullish mode until otherwise proven, because that's what the charts say to do. Really isn't any other way to look at it. Can I build bear and bull cases? Absolutely. They're going both ways. But there's just nothing here stating that we can't go a little bit higher yet. Higher. So looking at the charts, what we're seeing here is this following this nice blue line very well up here towards the top. If you want to, you can go ahead and make a little inverse head and shoulders out of this, but whatever. I will tell you this. This is why I am cautiously bullish. I'm still bullish, but cautiously bullish, and that is because we just haven't covered a lot of ground. A while back here, we had one really big day. Matter of fact, all disclaimers aside, I think 2 weeks ago I told you guys that coming into last week, I did expect a more major move to happen. Really thought we would see some major movement one way or the other last week. We did one day, but I'm not going to count that. I really didn't. That isn't exactly what I was expecting. We had one day of really strong movement, and it was actually a very strong up day. But nothing really since then. So, still waiting for the more major moves to happen. May happen this week with options expiration, but it's anybody's guess. Like I said, nothing has had a real impact on the bulls lately. The bears just are not interested at this point in changing the market's direction. So, we will stay with the current market's direction. That is neutral to bullish. Watch this blue line. We are touching the top of it as we have here, here, and now here. So it has held very, very, very well in the past. I would expect that to hold in the future. Any further breaks up and over this 11, let's call it 11,000, maybe 100 area, 11,100 area would be a pretty strong move then to the upside. Looking at it here from a daily, you can see too going back. This is that one big day I told you about. But that one day, I really expected a little bit more. Once we got above this 10,900 level, I really thought we'd hit some stops up here. We'd see the bears kind of give up and go whatever, and let the bulls have their way. And ultimately, the bulls did drag it higher, but man, it's just gone nowhere. I mean, if you go back a good 10 sessions, so a good 2 weeks, you can see we've only moved about 100 points or so-ish in the course of... Yeah, in the course of about 2 weeks. I mean, we've really moved from about here down to here and then back up again. Markets just aren't making a hard press one way or the other, but the direction is still up. Here's a NASDAQ. Here was that big gap. We saw a big move from 1960-ish up to the 2000 area. But look, once we got there, we've just been choppy up into the 2027 area, and these are all the areas we're going to be watching. I should have gave you something here on the Dow. You were watching this 10,900 area. Ultimately, the 10,700 is a more conservative place to look for your short. More aggressive below the 10,900, and then, I don't know, above 11,050, above 11,100 maybe for your moves to the upside, but got to be very, very cautious looking at overhead resistance once we hit 11,200. 22 on the Dow. NASDAQ on a 60 once again pushes above 20. I said 2025 last week was a more aggressive. You can see why. It just didn't go anywhere. Above 2030, I think, is a pretty safe bet going into the 2040 to 2060 area. As you can see, that is right above us here, looming heavily. However, the move is straight up. I have to giggle, guys. This move in the NASDAQ is strong. Look at that. Straight up as we held down here, followed by an absolute rocket shot to the upside, where we really haven't moved much from. We had this little move here, only back to retest the 20. Say hello and move back again right to the top of the movement. So NASDAQ doing extremely well from a weekly, putting in a nice high base right there. As I said, 2040, 2060 in your overhead areas on a break above 2030. SPX on a 60-minute also holding this overhead line beautifully right in through here. My overhead there is still 1170 to 1180. Below 1150 now, maybe we have a little reason to take a little bit of a short play down here. Just watch the tempo. Watch the tempo. But below 1150, I think, would give us a good opportunity there. Otherwise, anything above this, where we're at right now, 1165, I'd really watch that 1170 to 1180 area. I think there is some very good, strong overhead resistance in that area. Any breaks above that, let's follow the weekly and see if we can't hit that 1200 mark. 1200 in the SPX. Seemed like a far cry when we were sitting down here towards this 1040. Everybody was thinking crash, and boy, we've really made a recovery since then. So watch that overhead level as well. Make sure that is marked in your charts coming up as earnings come out and as economic news comes out. If it is really good news, it seems the markets are moving on it. We get bad news like consumer confidence. The markets go, oh, we'll drop 3 or 4 points. Oh, yeah. Then the bulls bite right back up. We get any kind of decent news, and the markets climb right up. So bulls are still in charge down here. With the VIX dropping below this area too, we want to watch closely as it moves down into this area. If it'll make it past this 20-ish area, I really think there's no reason to believe we can't make 18 to 1850, somewhere down in that area. I would think that would be a very, very logical place to see the VIX drop. Just no fear coming into the market right here. Get little climbs up, only to be met by, yeah, we don't care. So falling down into this area here just shows that the VIX and the investors, especially on the option side, well, that's what the VIX is all about, right, are showing no fear in this area. Apple on a 60 back up above this area. Like this lower blue line, got rid of one I had last week, which was still a good line, but kind of outdated now. Don't need it for this week. Going to be watching the 285 area and ultimately the 275 area on any further moves to the downside. Are we sitting at where? Yeah, a little double top position. But I'm going to tell you this is not a double top. It's just a potential double top. Just because it's up near where it was before doesn't make it a double top. Not yet. Got to wait for more further breaks to the downside. So as it is, Apple's still holding up strong. Looks like it might have a little bit more gas behind it as well. Had a nice pullback over about a week and a half, giving opportunity to investors to get back in. Then look at the big red candle, or the white candle that led upwards. Once it broke that 280, it really gapped above it. It was up that day, what was it, 10, 12 bucks, something like that. It's a huge move in Apple. So there's still buyers interested in this thing here. Really, there are. So unless it gets back below 280, 275, wouldn't be too concerned if you are long or bullish on Apple. This is the high base, holding that 275 level really nicely there, looking great on a weekly. FAS on a 60-minute, trapped in a little bit of a consolidation here. Last couple days, all consolidation for the banks. I think breaks are pretty obvious. Below the 50 here at 22-ish. And above, if you want to get more aggressive, above 2260 and or above 23. So I think more conservatively, below 22 or above 23, probably your best entries here. I think that is illustrated very well too on the daily as we see a symmetrical triangle here. Above 23, I really like that one for a long in FAS. And then once again back below 22, just below 22 here will be that blue line. So I think 22 still a very, very fair number to be watching to the short side. FAZ on a 60-minute as well, consolidating here below 1250 for the more aggressive. Below, I'd say 1225 for the more conservative. up here above 1280-ish or so, probably above 1290 for the more aggressive and above 13 for the more aggressive, or for the more conservative. Here you can see why, playing with the 20-day moving average. So I would really prefer breaks below 1225 and above 13 for your trades in FAZ if you choose to take them this week. Just be careful, careful, careful. Options expiration week, things can get kind of volatile. They usually start kind of tame. Tends to be more of a come in like a lamb, go out like a lion type of a week. So I would not expect, I would not be surprised, let me say, to see us maybe wander upwards overnight now into tomorrow morning's trading. Maybe a 3-point move up or a 3-point move down. Either way is not indicative of anything in any way, shape, or form. Watch for your breaks. Take those entries. Let's make some money this week. We should have at least a couple of good days of trading to make some money here. Talk to you guys again then when? Tomorrow night. And a reminder, shooting for Tuesday night. Tuesday night. We're going to make it 8. Let's make it 8. No, on second thought, make it 9. 9 o'clock Eastern Time. That will be 6 o'clock on the Pacific Coast. Giving you guys time to sit in on the little meeting I'm going to have through GoToMeeting. Come meet with me. Ask me questions about the mentoring. Ask me questions. Just get to know me, whatever. Make sure you send an email, info@thestockminer.com if you're interested in that. It is free to everybody. Just sit in, hang out, and get to meet some of you. Talk to you later. Talk to you tomorrow night.